The courtroom was silent, except for the echo of the gavel. Case dismissed. Judge Judy's voice was firm, final, the sound of power closing a door. Emily Carson stood frozen behind the plaintiff's table, her breath caught in her throat, hands trembling as her world cracked open. 2 years of her life, 2 years of proof, evidence, and tears, gone in one sentence. The defendant, Richard Hale, her former employer and the CEO of a billion-dollar firm, smirked. The cameras loved him, the charming businessman who could do no wrong. Emily had sued him for wrongful termination after exposing corruption inside his company. She had emails, recordings, witnesses, but one by one, those witnesses backed out. One by one, her truth lost its voice. Now, the nation's most famous TV judge had ruled against her. As she left the courtroom, flashes from reporters blinded her. "Emily, do you think Judge Judy made a mistake?" She stopped, her voice low but steady. She didn't make a mistake. She just didn't see what he hid. Outside, rain started to fall, heavy, cold, relentless. Emily stood under the courthouse steps, drenched, gripping the file that no longer meant anything. For a moment, she wanted to scream, to break, to give up. But then her phone buzzed. A text, unknown number. "You were right. Check your mail." Her heart skipped. She ran home, soaked to the bone, threw open her mailbox, and there it was, a small brown envelope with no return address. Inside, she found photographs, financial documents, and a USB drive. When she plugged it into her laptop, her screen flickered to life with a video, a recording of Richard Hale bribing one of her key witnesses. Her breath shook. Oh my God! Someone had risked everything to give her this. Emily stared at the evidence, her mind spinning. She couldn't take it back to Judge Judy's show. It was over, recorded, broadcasted to millions. But she could take it somewhere else. That night, she didn't sleep. She watched the rain slide down her window, the city lights reflecting off the glass like tiny flames. She whispered to herself, "They think it's over." It's not. The next morning, Emily called the one person she still trusted, her late husband's best friend, Daniel Brooks, a former investigative journalist. "Danny," she said, her voice cracking, "I have proof, real proof." Within an hour, he was at her door, coffee in one hand, determination in the other. He studied the files, his expression darkening. "Emily, this isn't small-time corruption. This goes higher than you think. Hale's company has contracts with half the state." "I don't care," she said quietly. "He took my job, my name, and my peace. I'm taking back the truth." They decided to dig deeper. For weeks, Emily worked her diner shift by day and spent nights poring over bank records and recordings. Daniel made calls to old contacts in the press. One night, as they compared notes at her kitchen table, he looked up. "You know, you're doing what most people would never dare." Emily gave a tired smile. "I'm not brave, Danny. I'm angry." But deep down, it wasn't just anger. It was faith, the stubborn belief that right still mattered, even in a world that rewarded lies. A month later, Daniel brought news. "There's a federal journalist who's been chasing Hale for years. She'll listen to you." Emily hesitated. What if she doesn't? Then you make her. They met the journalist, Claire Monroe, in a quiet coffee shop on the edge of downtown. Claire was skeptical at first. She'd heard 1,000 revenge stories, but when Emily showed her the recordings, the transfers, the bribes, Claire's face changed. "You're sitting on a bomb," she whispered. "If this is real, it could take down Hale Industries." "It is real," Emily said, "and I'm ready to light the fuse." Claire promised to verify every document, but she warned Emily, "When this goes public, you won't be safe. They'll come after you." Emily looked out the window at the people rushing by in the rain. They already did. she murmured. 2 weeks later, the story aired. Headlines blazed across national news. Whistleblowers' evidence exposes corruption inside Hale Industries. Judge Judy case revisited. Was Emily Carson telling the truth all along? The country exploded with debate. Online forums, TV panels, talk shows. Everyone had an opinion. Some called Emily a hero. Others said she was just chasing fame. But Hale Industries panicked. Stock prices plummeted. Federal agents began an investigation. And then one night, Emily's phone rang. "Stop," a voice said. "Mail. Cold. Drop this or you'll wish you had." She froze, pulse racing. She knew it was him, or one of his men. Instead of fear, fire filled her chest. "You've already taken everything from me. What's left to lose?" She hung up and stared at her reflection in the dark window. The woman staring back didn't look broken anymore. She looked ready. That night, Emily Carson became something new. Not just a teacher, not a victim, not a dismissed plaintiff on a TV show. She became a symbol. And in the days that followed, America would learn that even when justice turns its back, a brave woman can turn the world around. The morning after the headlines exploded, Emily Carson woke to flashing lights outside her small apartment. Reporters crowded her door, cameras ready, questions flying through the cold morning air. "Miss Carson, do you have anything to say to Judge Judy? Are you planning to sue again? Is it true you found new evidence?" Emily said nothing. She pushed past them, clutching her coffee with trembling hands. She didn't want fame. She wanted justice. By noon, her phone wouldn't stop ringing. Journalists, lawyers, TV shows. Then one message made her heart stop. "Ms. Carson, this is the state prosecutor's office. Due to new evidence, we are reopening the Hale investigation." Her eyes filled with tears. 2 years of humiliation. 2 years of being dismissed. And now a door she thought was locked forever had just opened. That night, Emily sat surrounded by stacks of documents, flash drives, and empty coffee cups. Her friend Daniel smiled from across the table. "You did it, Em." She shook her head. "No, we did it. But this time, we finish it." 2 weeks later, she was back in court. The same courtroom where Judge Judy had once dismissed her case. The marble floor, the cold air, all of it the same. But Emily wasn't. This time, she stood taller, stronger. Claire sat in the front row, Daniel near the door. Strangers held signs. "Justice for Emily. Truth never dies." When the prosecutor spoke, the courtroom went silent. "Your Honor, we have new evidence proving the defendant engaged in bribery and witness tampering during the Carson versus Hale case." Gasps filled the room. One by one, recordings played. Hale's voice negotiating payments, witnesses admitting their lies. Every sound hit like thunder. "Objection," Hale's lawyer shouted. "Overruled," the judge said firmly. "Evidence verified by federal investigators." Emily closed her eyes. For the first time, truth was louder than power. When she was asked to speak, she rose slowly, her voice calm but burning. 2 years ago, I walked out of this courthouse believing justice had no place for women like me. But I learned something. Truth never loses. It just waits for someone brave enough to fight for it." Silence. Even Hale looked away. And for the first time, Emily felt the world listening. Days later, headlines took over every screen in America. Whistleblower faces down billionaire. Judge Judy case sparks real justice. The woman America can't stop watching. Social media exploded. Hashtag justice for Emily and hashtag the truth fights back trended for days. Women across the country began sharing their own stories of being silenced, ignored, and dismissed. Emily had become their voice. But victory had a price. One night, a black SUV slowed beside her as she walked to her car. A voice from the window said, "You should have stayed quiet." Her heart raced, but she didn't stop. She wouldn't. Daniel told her, "They're scared, Em. That means you're winning." And he was right. A week later, the call came. "Emily Carson, the state has ruled in your favor. Mr. Hale is being indicted for obstruction, perjury, and bribery." Her knees gave out, tears poured freely. 2 years ago, no one believed her. Now the system itself stood beside her. When she stepped outside the courthouse that evening, reporters shouted questions again. "How does it feel to be vindicated after Judge Judy dismissed your case?" Emily smiled softly. "Judge Judy made her decision with the evidence she had. I made mine with the truth I found." That quote went viral overnight. Every major network ran the headline. She took Judge Judy to court and changed everything. Months later, Emily received a letter from Judge Judy herself. It read, "In every courtroom, the goal is truth. You reminded us why that matters. JWJ." Emily framed it, not as a trophy, but as proof. Proof that justice, even when delayed, can still arrive. Years later, she stood behind a podium in that same courthouse, launching her new foundation, the Truth Rises Project, to help women who couldn't afford justice. She spoke to a packed crowd. When the system breaks you, don't break with it. Build something stronger. Justice doesn't belong to judges or lawyers. It belongs to the brave, to every woman who refuses to give up, even when the gavel falls. Applause thundered through the room. That night, as she walked home, she found an envelope in her mailbox. Inside, a note, "For the woman who made justice listen again. JJ." Emily smiled through tears. For once, the gavel hadn't fallen in dismissal. It had fallen in respect, and that sound, that single echo, became the heartbeat of a new kind of justice.